We will start our lecture series on quantitative techniques for management. Our first topic will be an introduction to data. Whenever we deal with data, we measure some variables. Now these variables need to satisfy certain properties of measurement. The first one being identity, which means the variable that we are going to measure must have some meaning to it. For example, age, for example, gender, for example, color. There is a unique meaning to what exactly we are measuring. The second one is magnitude. It means that if we are measuring any variable, then two successive such measurements can be compared, in the sense then that one could be either smaller, larger, or equal to the other one. The third one being equal intervals. It means the difference between two values 1 and 2 versus 19 and 20 should be the same. And lastly, there has to be a meaning for 0. 0 should denote the least value. Now, if we are measuring the temperature on Celsius scale, we know that 0 degrees Celsius doesn't mean that there is no temperature at all. We have seen that temperature can also be negative. Likewise, a 0 score for examinations like GMAT, like GRE also doesn't make any sense. After having a look at the different properties of measurement, let us now try to understand what are the different scales of measurement. The first one is the nominal scale. Now, let us consider a variable like color. This particular variable has an identity of its own, but then you cannot make a comparison as to whether green color is better than red, whether black is better than white. It could be dependent upon an individual's personal choices. So nominal scale is one which has an identity of its own, but it doesn't have the other properties of magnitude, equal intervals, and minimum 0. The second scale is ordinal scale. Ordinal scale satisfies the properties of identity as well as the property of magnitude. Now, let us look at the example of Likert scale. We do fill surveys, and while filling the surveys, we are asked to rate something on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 to 7, or whatever. Now, in such a situation, what we could easily notice that this particular variable will have an identity, as well as if we are rating, let's say 5, it will always be considered as a superior rating than any of the lower scores. So, it is a case of ordinal scale. The third one being interval scale. An interval scale satisfies the property of identity, the property of magnitude, and equal intervals. Now let us consider the case of temperature measured in Celsius. Now in this case, it is easy for us to notice that 0 degrees Celsius doesn't have any meaning, as I told you previously. But temperature difference between 1 degree centigrade and 2 degree centigrade will be the same as the temperature difference between 15 degree centigrade and 16 degree centigrade. So interval scale satisfies the first three properties but not the fourth one. That is, the minimum value of 0 is non-existent. The fourth one is the ratio scale, which satisfies all the properties. While measuring temperature, we have Kelvin scale, and 0 degree Kelvin means absolute 0, which is the minimum value of temperature that can be achieved. Likewise, we can say 0 weight, 0 height. All these variables are categorized under the ratio scale. To end, let us now map the 4 properties of measurement with respect to the 4 scales that we have discussed. So, it is easy for us to figure it out that identity property is being satisfied by all 4 scales, measurement being satisfied by the 3 scales except the nominal scale, the equal interval property is being satisfied by interval as well as ratio scale, whereas the minimum value of 0 property is only being satisfied by the ratio